Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com. Let me give you an absolute easy way to bring instant clarity to your mix. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book, and it's called a high pass filter, HPF. All right, what are we talking about? We're talking about a little EQ move that's just a filter. It's this little guy here. You can see it's kind of grayed out on the left. If I take it off, there we go. This would be a full, you know, all the low end is there on this one track. And then I've rolled off, when I turn it on, everything up to 300 hertz. So I'm letting the high frequencies pass through unaffected. It's also called a low cut. A low cut makes more sense because we're rolling off the lows, but it's called an HPF, high pass filter. That's what we got. Why does this work? And then I want you to hear it. Well, the truth is, you don't need all that low end in every single track. You might need it in, let's say, a kick drum. You might need it in a bass. You might need it in a really low synth, but you don't need the ultra lows in much else. So in my mixes, you'll see me using high pass filters all over the place to roll off most things below 100 hertz. And in the case of these guitars, I'm going to let you hear them in just 2 seconds, below 300 hertz. Why in the world would I cut off so much? To make room. To make room. When I cut off the low end and a lot of other tracks, roll it off to a point where it's still musical and it's not overly thin, but it works in the mix, it frees up so much real estate in the low end for your kick and your bass to just cut through and sound huge. And it gets rid of a lot of mud, a lot of woofiness that's there either from being too close to the microphone or just the low frequency vibrations in your room or just sonic sounds that our ears don't really notice. And so it's literally taking up headroom, which is your volume and your mix, making your mix louder than it needs to be with no usable noise. The mid-range and the upper stuff is where it's more usable. So you want more clarity? You don't add anything. You just take away a lot of the low end on things that are not the kick and the bass. So let me give you an example. Here's a track where things are already kind of high pass. You can hear it, but then I'm going to let you hear what the tracks really sound like without the high pass filters.
Set this temple on fire now. Burn it all away. Set this temple on fire.
Now, I want you to take a listen to these guitars to start. Here they are, already mixed. Cool part, but here's what they sound like without an EQ. If you're listening on headphones or good speakers, you'll notice a difference. Way more low end, actually a little more top end as well. We'll talk about that in another video, but let me show you what these EQs look like so I can show you that the high pass filter is the biggest thing happening on these tracks. What I've got here is a major high pass up to 300 hertz on both guitars. And if we take these away, you'll notice a big difference. I'll even leave the other EQs in for now, and I'll just take away the filters, okay? Man, if you listen closely, there's this low rumble and it's like, and it's unusable sound. It's just not really helpful. You take those away, the guitar still does its thing. It's still cutting through. It still sounds like a guitar. Yes, you don't have the weight, so it's a little thinner in solo, but in the mix, it's so much cleaner. And the idea with high pass filters is that it's very subtle on one track, not going to be that life changing. It's the cumulative effect of strategic high pass filters across many tracks that gives you clarity, cutting out low end that's unneeded, making room for your bass and kick, and then allowing your speakers to put most of their energy to produce the mid frequencies and highs that are left instead of having to use that energy to produce the low end. So if we take a look on my synths, this track here, let's get rid of the guitars. I've even done a tiny little high pass at 20 hertz on this guy. Very tiny. On this track, big high pass. Because it's these little stabs, right? Here's what it sounds like without the high pass. I'm telling you, if you have to have good speakers or headphones, you'll notice energy went away. A little bit of unneeded energy went away in the low end. The tone sounds the same. It still sounds the same. If you're listening on laptop or your phone, you're not going to hear this. Trust me. You got to listen to this on real speakers or headphones. You lose some of that that's at the bottom. That's really subtle. Clears up a lot of that. Again, is that life-changing by itself? No. It's a cumulative effect. Here is another track, the strings. So there's more beef in the strings here. Filter. It tones down that low end a little bit. This is going to leave more room for the bass. Again, not life-changing, but they make a big difference. If you take the strings, the synths, the stabs, and the guitars, let's say, and let's solo those. Let's take away the EQs on those. Right? Cleaner, less mushy. Now, granted, yes, there are a couple of EQ boosts in there as well. I'm not just talking about the high pass filters here, but a lot of that low end woofiness went away, and you're left with just the parts of the tracks that really matter to the ears, which is the mid range and the upper frequencies. Let the low end stuff do its job. Let the bass and the kick drum do its job. But if you can strategically put high pass filters across a lot of your instruments, your vocals, even your reverbs and delays, you will have way more clarity. It's the easiest trick in the book, and you've got one built into all of your EQs. Just look for HPF, kick it on, roll it up till it starts to thin out. And if you've rolled off too much, you can always dial it back a little bit. So, two things for you. One, do you use high pass filters already? I hope so. If so, let me know in a comment below. Let me know if you have a similar experience with the simple power of HPFs across your tracks. And then two, if you want more mix training on EQ specifically, I want to give you my EQ checklist, okay? EQ is such a powerful tool. You're seeing this, right? Using EQ is what takes your good balance and then gives it all of that separation so it sounds good on any speaker. It's the most powerful plugin you would ever use. So what I've got is a 7-step checklist for EQ. It's like a simple maybe 2-page PDF. Just print it up, read it once, boom, 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 boom. It's a checklist. So anytime you're mixing and you want to make sure you're EQing well, you can follow the 7 steps. It's my gift to you. I think it'll really help you out. Just click the link below or go to eqchecklist.com. Put the link here in the video, eqchecklist.com. Links in the description, and get my 7-step EQ cheat sheet or checklist. It's really helpful. Will take just 2 minutes of your time to read it, but you got to have this. I like to keep it literally printed up on my desk so I can reference it when I'm mixing. Hope you enjoyed that and that's helpful for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to this channel. And I'll see you in another video real soon.